Hello everyone. This is my first video post on my YouTube channel and I feel really lame for doing it, but I'd like a record of kind of my reactions. This is really just for me basically, but a record of my reactions to like the shows that I watch and the films that I watch, because I find that if I try to type about them that I get overwhelmed really quickly and that I just don't keep up with it. But I like the idea of having a record of like what I think about certain episodes of shows and films. The show that basically describes my purpose in life, which is sad, is Lost. As many other people, it's sort of becoming like a cliched type of person to be like a typical Lost fan, and I am one of those people. So I wanted to talk about the last episode that just aired, called The Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham, which was the 7th episode in season 5. I had heard that 316, which was last week, was supposed to air the week before, and then, or this week, but then they like switched them, which is kind of weird actually. So I'll just kind of go through it chronologically because otherwise I'll just go all over the place. Basically, okay, well, I just need to put a disclaimer out there. I have a really hard time with Locke-centric sort of episodes because I find that Locke is the most interesting character on the show for me, and I think he's the most unique character on the show. I think he sort of elevates the show itself to like a different level, with Terry O'Quinn and just the character himself. So I was like sobbing during a couple parts, which I'll get to later. So, episode starts out and Locke is already resurrected from, being in the coffin. That, I did not expect that to happen that soon, so that was interesting. And yeah, I'm sorry, I am not an eloquent person, so there's gonna be a lot of ums throughout this whole thing. So basically we flash back and we see how he got from him getting off the island to him getting back onto it. And he lands in the same part of the desert, or in Tunisia, that Ben did when he left the first time, and gets picked up by Charles Widmore's people and gets his leg snapped back into place or whatever. That was really nasty. And then he talks to Charles Widmore. So basically, something that the show is doing is that they're pulling us in different directions with if we're supposed to believe Charles or if we're supposed to believe Ben. Is Ben the bad guy or is he the good guy? Or is Charles the bad guy or is he the good guy? It seems that they both want them all back on the island, but for what purpose? Ben seems to know Ben knows where the island is. I mean, he has the information to know where it is at any particular time, basically. Widmore, on the other hand, does not seem to know where the island is at any particular time. So Ben has more resources than Charles, and we know that. But like, Charles talks about how he wasn't an other, and then like Ben exiled him from the island, and then Ben's just trying to use him, and then like this, that, and I don't know who to believe because it's really confusing. And I know that they're doing that on purpose, but it's doing a really good job. Right now, they're kind of pulling me towards Charles is more good and Ben is more bad, but I think that they're trying to do that on purpose, so I don't really know. Everyone just seems to be using everyone, and at this point I'm not even sure if either of them are good at all. So yeah, the conversation between Widmore and Locke was really interesting because, I don't know, Charles seemed really genuine to me, but it's probably not true. So he has to go get everyone back. His first trip, we find out that Matthew Abaddon is his chauffeur or whatever. That was awesome because I love Abaddon, played by Lance Reddick, who I know from Oz, which is awesome, third Oz cast member to be on the show, that I know of. Maybe there's more. So Abaddon's his chauffeur. He has the whole I take people where they need to go which I love that he's like a chauffeur and that's what he does, like in other ways. It sort of parallels, and that was really clever. I feel like such a board right now. Okay, let's do this quick. First stop, Saeed. Saeed's building houses for people. That's really awesome. His really feeble attempt at redemption, considering that he's killed so many damn people. Saeed tells him he's crazy, this, that, and kind of sets the first, kind of low blow to Locke in a series of low blows that come towards him as he visits everybody, which is, basically, maybe you're so desperate to get back for your own reasons and you're just making this up in your head. Then he goes to visit Walt. I think he goes to visit Walt next. It might have been Hurley, but I don't know. And the conversation between him and Walt was really interesting because Walt's never been like one of my favorite characters, but now that he's older, he seems a lot more calm and not really like whiny. And the relationship between him and Locke in the first season was really like important and sort of poignant, and so the fact that he's the only one that visited Walt and that like they get to have this conversation again was really kind of a nice tie-in to things that had happened in the very beginning of the show. Obviously Walt's vision is going to come true. Locke's line, "Oh, thank God they're just dreams." Come on now, it's ridiculous. That's just stupid. And yeah, so they had a conversation. He didn't tell him about Michael, and now we understand why he didn't ask Walt to come back, because he's been through enough, and he couldn't ask him. He couldn't ask the kid to come back. Next we move on to Hurley. Hurley said you're crazy, and that was basically that scene. And then we move on to Kate. And Kate is a schmuck, basically, because she just... I have issues with Kate. But her conversation with him was just really like harsh, and I know I can understand where she's coming from, but I'm kind of like sympathetic towards Locke a lot of the time, although there have been like a couple of seasons where I hated him, really hated him, but I still feel really bad for him. So just the whole you don't love anybody, maybe this is why I want to go back, and then just the line about like, it's like, Locke